Well, hello and welcome to my first playthrough of City Skylines. Today I'll be starting a new game and showing you how I build a city, hopefully a good city. The first thing I want to do is go to Content Manager and just show you the mods that I'll be using for this setup. The first mod that I'll be using will be the 81 tiles so that I'll have access to the entire map. I'll be using the automatic bulldozer. I know a lot of people don't like to use the bulldozer, but I just think it makes managing the city just a whole lot easier. I've also put the first person camera mod in here. I probably won't be using that much. Next, I will be using the hide policy icons, um, which I'll show you what that does when I get into the game. It just cleans up the image a lot, especially if you do a lot of districts like I do. I'll be using the Move It mod, which is something I'm not that familiar with, so we'll be learning how to use that together. Of course, the must-have network extensions. I will be using the Remove Seagulls just because I think it makes a lot cleaner image, especially for the broadcast. Um, Skylines Overwatch is just a background monitoring program. Traffic Manager President Edition. The Traffic Report tool. The Tree Brush. I will be turning on unlimited money just so that I will not have to worry about keeping track of that while I'm going through this. Unlimited oil and ore. Unlimited soil. And unlock all. So those are the mods that I'll be using for this walkthrough. Styles. I've just added a couple styles. American Brown House, Eclectic, Berlin Inspired, South France, European, and Baroque. I don't want to add too many because the more styles that you put on there, the slower the computer will process it. So let me go to New Game. Change theme to name. I already have the map that I'm going to be using. It's called Boulder Rapids version 2. Now there is 2 versions of Boulder Rapids on the workshop. Um, the one that I'm using is the image that has the 2 roads going off in the distance. That will be the one that I'll be using. I'm going to change the base theme at the bottom to Cedar Valley 4K. It's just a lot better image. And let me start. Now this map I have messed around with it a little bit. I like this map. The city that I've started with this map already for myself is turning out pretty nice. So I thought I would do a walkthrough and show you how I'm going to build this city. While I am waiting for the map to load, I am going to go off screen into a name generator and see if I can come up with a good name for this city. I'm just going to do this off screen. We'll use European towns. Let's see if we can come up with something that sounds pretty good. Maybe not those. Those are a little... just a moment. I'm having some issues getting it to stay where I can see it. Let's try this one. This is a lot of Italian names in this one. I'm not sure any of those really jump out at me. Let's switch to American town names. Let's see if anything looks good. Well, maybe not. I'm just waiting for it to load. I hope I didn't enable too many mods to where it's going to slow it down. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'm planning on, at the beginning, setting up a housing zone and then starting on a hub that I can use for transportation. A main hub. I'll have a secondary hub in my industrial area, but this will be my main hub. There we go. And it took a little longer than I thought, but we'll get right on it. Okay, let's go ahead and pause the game first. Let me show you the entire map, or as much of the map as you can see. You've got the ocean to your left, and two pretty decent sized rivers that come together, and a large highway system. So let's go to options first and go to the 81 tiles and unlock all. This will open up all of the tiles. And let me use pretty much place the city wherever I want to, although I already have my starting location picked out. As you can see here, there is these two rivers and then a large river up here. We're going to start our housing zone in this area, and then we're going to go across the river and do industrial between the two rivers. But here is where we're going to be starting, which is really close to the ocean. It has a rail and a large highway system that we can start out from. Now, one thing I was looking at from this one is I'm not going to be able to use ferries on this first section because of the way the rail and the highway system are set up. So I'll have to use a different sort of transportation uh, system besides ferries, which I usually use on my maps. So that will just be one change I'll be making on this. Okay. Now I did enable unlimited funds, so I will be able to just build to my heart's content. Okay, we're going to change Rock Valley to Riverway. That's the name that I have decided to go with. And go into our policies. We're just going to do a little bit of setting up first before we start building. This will get us and for some reason it did not take my name, Riverway. There we go. I forgot to hit enter. Okay, let's check our city policies. We're going to enable power and water usage and smoke detection. This will lower the cost of and the price on water and power usage. Or up the price on power and water usage, I should say, but it will lower the usage, but up the cost. And since we've got unlimited money, we're not going to have to worry about the cost. We're going to also do recycling, which will, if you read, recycling is a big part of the environmental sustainability. It'll help keep the neighborhoods tidy. It reduces your garbage accumulation. We're going to enable parks and recreation, which gives you a boost to those. We're going to boost education. We're going to make public transportation free. Extra insulation. And recycle plastic, which makes our recycling plants just a little bit more efficient. Taxation, we're not going to actually change anything on this. I will change these by zone instead of by the whole map. And city planning, the only thing in city planning that I think that I'd use is encourage biking. That is the only thing that that I believe I enable on that. Everything else I do on a zone by zone basis. Okay. Okay, that enables all of those. Now the reason that I used the no icons mod, just show you here. Using my districts, I'm just going to paint a district just to show you. Now normally everything enabled in the district will show as icons, so that the more things you have enabled for each district, the more icons you show, which if you don't use a lot of policies will not make that big of a difference. But if you're like me, who likes each individual zone tweaked, then you'll have tons of icons just floating around below the name of the district, and that can be a little distracting, plus it makes the map look a little cluttered. So that's why I use the mod that gets rid of those icons. You can still go into the district and look at each icon or each policy individually, but as far as the map itself, I don't think that having the policies on the map really adds anything to it. It's just too distracting. Okay. So what we're going to work on first is our off-ramp from our interstate system. This is actually a really nice interchange. It's pretty well done. The mod designer, or not mod designer, but the map designer did a really good job with this. So everyone please go to the workshop and like or subscribe to this map. Show your support for the designer. So what we're going to do here is just we're going to upgrade this just a little bit. There's just a few little things here I don't like. It's not that I don't like, it's just the little things I think that can be improved here on this. I am a big believer in using sound barriers. And this map, or this interchange, does not come pre-made with sound barriers. And since I'm not worrying about money on this one, I can go in here and put sound barriers along this entire interchange. Now, one thing I did notice when I've been playing through this map are these on and off ramps on these right through here. They get a little bit congested sometimes. So what I'm going to do with those, just to help them out a little bit, is I'm going to upgrade them from a 1-lane to a 2-lane. This is just something I did on my initial playthrough on this. It seemed to help. I'd say it's not that big of a deal if you don't on this map, but it just helps a little bit. The rest of these are pretty good, and they're so close together that you can't upgrade the whole thing without tearing it down and redoing some of the sections, and that's just not worth it. Now, I have added one other feature to this interchange on this side, and you'll see why I do it when I get my off-ramps done. And that is add a crossover. Let's go to the curve and highway ramp. This on-ramp and this off-ramp. The on-ramp on the left and the off-ramp, or sorry, the on-ramp on the right and the off-ramp on the left. There is, I'm going to start with this snap point. Just going to go up to, say, right about here, just to make this nice and smooth, and then drag it back down to this one, so that it's just a loop going up this on-ramp, cuts across, and comes back down this on-ramp, off-ramp. And I will show you what that's, my reasoning behind that and why I had to do that as I get deeper into designing my initial off-ramp area here. Now, we're going to be making a kind of a unique off-ramp area here. Oops, had curve on. Better put it back on straight. And you'll see what I'm doing here in a minute. I'm just using this as a guideline so that I can draw a marker road, I should say, up this middle. That's all I'm really using that for right at the moment. I just need a marker. And the reason for that is this City Junction plus Fast Lane. This is a intersection on the workshop. It says connect your port, city, and any way to this interchange. I'm assuming that whoever designed this, English may not have been their first language, because of I understand the context from reading it, but it's a little garbled there. Okay. Yep. So this does not line up exactly with the. If you'll notice, the two lanes do not come close to matching that, which is not that big a deal. Because I can pretty much fix that. Okay. Like I said, I'm just going to be using this to line up my interchange. Yeah, I'm going to have to go just a little back further than that. All I'm wanting to do is line this up. I'm going to come back just a little bit more. Maybe 5, maybe. Let's see if that does it. That may be too close. Let's try it and see if I can always... bulldoze it if it's not. Okay. And let's go to... yeah, it's close. It's good. Okay. So I have just basically put in a intersection here for my off-ramp and the main entrance to the city. Now if you'll notice, it has two, I believe what it called, fast lanes. Yes, fast lanes. On the left coming in, right going out. And this is the main reason that I put this interchange up here. And that is because things coming from the fast lanes have this fast lane on the right coming back toward the interstate have no way, if they come this way and they need to go this way or this way, they have no way of coming back. So I put this small little cut across so that they can zip up here, come across, come back, and come this way. Now I do have a couple other things when I'm building this that to fix that problem, but that's the one of the main ways for now for it. Because what I'm going to be doing is my residential area is going to be right here in these blocks. So I'm going to use those fast lanes to get to the residential area. And I just now noticed my cursor was not on. And it looks like it's showing now. So, sorry about that. Apparently, I've been talking and pointing with my cursor, but did not notice on the right that the cursor was not showing up on the actual video. So hopefully everyone understood what I was talking about. I will try to make sure I turn the cursor on next time. I'm still new to this program, so you have to bear with me just a little bit. Okay, let's go back to this. So, I do want to upgrade these two sections just to make them more lanes. I will make a change to this section just as soon as I get this built further out. This is just kind of a placeholder for me for the moment. Okay. So I'm going to take my road out beyond this rail. Now I will not be leaving this road here, this long road. This is just so that I can line up what I'm about to do next. Okay. I'm going to take the very first large roundabout. This is pretty much the standard large roundabout. It's the very first thing in your intersection tab. And I am going to line it up. There we go. Is that far enough? That should be far enough. It doesn't really matter. I've tried this further out or close up. As close to the center as I can get it usually seems to work better. Okay, we're going to put the roundabout right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this long road here for just a minute so that I can, excuse me, so that I can run my fast lanes to my roundabout. Now the fast lanes I am going to keep as an on-ramp. Mostly because of the speed. On-ramp speed is 80, whereas if I used a regular road, it would be speed of 50. So we're going to keep it as an on-ramp just because of the speed. So I'm going to go underground here, and this is all running underground. And we're going to go to the very edge of this, where the roundabout's spike, I guess would be the best way of putting it, goes to. And I'm going to go and do the lane in the opposite direction. Okay. The only thing about that is I have to go in and change the direction of that side. But that's easy to fix. And actually, I need to pull that back just a tad bit. And you'll see why in just a moment. Okay. going to bring these out. And that brings my fast lanes all the way from my intersection off my interstate, underground, and all the way to my roundabout, which is going to be the main roundabout for my housing section. Now that I have that lined up, I no longer need this guideline. So it is going to go away. Now we're going to do a little work on a roundabout. Again, I'm going to place a few guidelines. It doesn't actually, I need to use a different one. I'm under highway, I need to use a city one. I am just using these as guides. These are not actually going to be part of the roundabout. I am just going to be using these as guides. I'm going to use the three-lane highway on-ramp. And connect to my the wrong one, so let's go back and change that. Okay. The reason I'm only using a 1 on this is because this is such a long stretch that I don't really need to use the bigger one. But now for this one, I will be using I did forget one thing. The way this is set up, I have to use this guideline. I did make a slight mistake on this, and I realized it after I'd done it. I should have left my guide going this way. Yeah, I kind of messed up this intersection, and I realized it after I did it. So, I'm going to see if I can fix my roundabout. I did not mean to do this way. It happens. Sometimes when you get ahead of yourself, you mess up, and that's what I did with this roundabout. But not that big a deal, really easy to fix. Let's hope. Okay. We'll try this one more time, see how this works. When I was doing this, I forgot to bring that out. That was the main thing that I messed up on. I used my little guides here, but I forgot to, which it doesn't really matter which one of these I use right now, bring this out. If I don't do it this way, the next part that I'm doing won't snap right. And before I delete the others, just to make sure that I got this right. So I'm going to be using the 3-lane highway with the sound barrier. There we go. That looks much better. There we go. Now this makes a kind of a, I'm going to go ahead and update these to the sound barrier ones. This makes kind of a weird looking roundabout, but I've tested this a few times. It seems to work really well. Takes up a lot of room though, but it does seem to work well. And this brings all my highway traffic, interstate traffic, off the interstate, underground, up on this side, and then on to my roundabout, where it will have 3 different directions to go from. And then I will build my housing section around on these sides. Now I will, because I'm going to be doing industrial on this side, in this big area here, I will be taking things over with a bridge. Now, if you'll notice, I am going to be using bicycle lanes a lot. So most of the roads that I'm going to place are going to have these bicycle lanes, including my tram lanes. My tram lanes will have bicycle lanes. But these roads that are coming off of my roundabout will be 6-lane roads with a bike lane. Now there's no rhyme or reason to how far I'm going to go on these just yet. My tram lanes will come all the way around this when I'm finished. But this is going to keep my housing section separate from the interstate. And it's going to keep it separate from my transportation hub, my power plants, main power plants, and my water purification, my water pumps, all of that will be over here. Okay. Now I want to bring this road up, but I'm going to change it to this one. The reasoning behind this is going to give me a lot more traffic decisions going this way, whereas coming toward the interstate, I only need 2 lanes, because that's all that it's going to be able to handle here is 2 lanes. And then this is a 3rd lane that merges. So by making it 6 lanes with 2 going toward the interstate, 4 going away, it will hopefully help alleviate the traffic. Okay, now I'm going to pull this out. That's just far enough to where I can add my 6 lane with bicycle. I'm going to have to just kind of go up one more. There we go. I use a lot of guideline roads. It just helps me place everything else, especially when I'm using unlimited money and I don't have to worry about how much I spend. So what will happen is this will be my transportation hub, this area right here, connected to the train tracks. And then on this side, I will build a power plant and water treatment plants. That will keep everything hopefully far enough away from this area, which will be all housing. And this will all be low income housing. So for now, I will not worry about the transportation hub or the power and the heating, because I will use a few small versions of water and power on this side. The first thing I'll place for water will just be a really large since there's nothing that can really go here, a really large water tank right in the center. Now, one thing I'm going to do differently on this go around is I'm going to try to use some pre-made roads for the housing. So we'll give that a shot just as soon as I get my roads placed for my road and my trams that go around the city, around the housing. So I'm going to look for my 4-tram, which is 4-lane road with trams going both ways and bike lanes going both ways. And this will be the one that I'll be using. Now I'm going almost to I'm starting here at the edge of my bridge, and I will be taking the tram roads like this. And as you can see, we've got... Oop, I may have used the wrong one. Yes, I did. Sorry, give me just one moment. I have a lot of different types of roads on here. This one says that it is a 4-lane, but it actually, when you're playing the game, it has parking, 1 lane, and 1 lane for trams. For some reason, it will not do 4 lanes. This is the one that I want. Which, if you'll notice, has four-lane road with trams and bikes. And this one works really well. Trams go down the middle. You have 2 lanes going each direction and bike lanes along the edge. That seem to work really well. This is just a placeholder. I may have to do some moving once I get in there and laying out the roads for the housing. I will have to just tidy up a lot of this. But for now, I'm just going to use these as placeholders. There we go. And this will be my tram that goes all the way around this residential area, which will have, it'll be residential with some commercial spotted throughout it. You want to kind of mix a little bit of commercial in with your residential. And it will also have a few places of office spaces. Just a few, not a lot. but this will be my commercial area, or residential area with commercial. Now my trams will be connected to this side over here. I will build a tram station somewhere in this area, along with a bus depot and taxi service and metro, so that I will have a metro, bus, tram, rail, taxi hub all right here. But as you can see, this is the reason that I had to do this little crossover bridge. Anything, because there won't be any roads through here connecting these two sections. It's just this fast lane that comes under here. And once you get over here to the interstate entrance, the interchange entrance, there is no way, once it gets going up on here, there is no way for the traffic to come back around and head back this way or head to this transportation hub. So I added this little crossover just so that anything that comes that way can zoom back around and then come back this way. But I will be adding one or two other little crossovers and roads underground through here that will help bring things to the different places, but I will add those when I build that particular section, and there's no need to try to do it now. It would just get confusing without the roads in place. Now I will have one other additional crossover road right here to my other side. I will just go ahead and build the bridge. This section will probably be either office spaces or commercial. I haven't decided yet. Everything over here is probably going to all be industry on this section. So we'll not have to worry about that for a while, because it will take a while for the population to get up high enough to where I need to concentrate on a lot of industry. So for now, will be what I'll be using. Okay, let me take a look. I added some intersection or residential roads. Let me see if I can find them. They're different patterns. Oh, that's a large one. That's not it. I've not tried these new layouts that I downloaded. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to look. And like I said, I may have to change the size up on these areas once I try to lay these down. I think that was one of them. Yeah, this is one of them. I'm going to snap this and take a look at it. I'm not too fond of it from just first glance. And if anybody's played this game long enough, they probably see the same thing I am. Yeah. That is a lot of intersections. And that is the last thing I want off of my main roads, is a lot of intersections along this road. That will cause a huge amount of congestion. So we are not going to go with this. I thought it was worth a shot. I need to take a look at it, but that is just too much, too many intersections coming off the main road. And that's not something we want to do, because that will cause way too much congestion. Okay, so what we'll probably do is go ahead and use one of these with a bicycle lane as soon as I find a nice one. We don't need trams going into the residential itself, just along the edge. So we just need to find a bicycle lane two-way. Okay. Now we want to make sure we keep this intersection as far away from another intersection as we can. We don't want to clog up the roads, these main roads, with too many intersections going back and forth. That will get just way too congested. I originally had not planned on doing one-way roads through my residential, but I might just do that. If I can find one with bikes. Here we go. One-way roads with bikes. This might be what I'm looking for. No, that is not a one-way road. It says it is, but it's not. But that one is. Okay, these both should be 40, so... And if you'll notice, doing these smaller roads off of this main one does not add a stoplight. So that should help with the traffic. So for now, I'm just going to draw a bunch of one-way roads. Well, we've got a infinite loop there. That won't work, so we'll do that. And that's kind of the idea on what I'm going to go for my residential. One-way roads coming off of a main avenue. Coming off my main road with my trams. So that should kind of give you an idea of what will happen with this. Now I'm going to try to keep these lined as much as I possibly can. I'll add a couple, probably 2 of these avenues, maybe 3 depending on the size here, coming off of each one of these. And that will give me plenty of room to kind of spread around. I'm not going to connect these from inside the these that way it will give me enough room to spread these out. Let's see. Some of these I may make regular roads, just for the sheer fact that I want to use spaces such as this little cul-de-sac here. I'm not too worried about intersections close inside this small residential. There is going to be so many different avenues going in and out that I don't think it will be an issue. Could be mistaken, we'll find out. Let's find a bicycle lane. Here we go. This is a normal road, not a 2-way. Or not a 1-way, I should say. That's just because I want to take advantage of this little space here. know I said I was probably not going to do this, but when I look, I can always go back and take it out. I might connect those after all. There's going to be some weird looking roads in this little area. I think they should be alright. I'm going to have a lot of parks scattered throughout this area, so it's going to be a little off till I get the parks put in. Now, the one thing that I'm going to try to do is run heat pipes instead of regular water pipes. But in order to do that, I'm going to have a heating plant somewhere, or I'm going to be getting a lot of error messages popping up. So I may have to, just as a filler for now until I can get over here and actually design this area, may have to plop down a hot water plant. Hot water heating plant. Just so that I can have no error messages while I'm doing this. So we just need a small substation. There's one. Doesn't have to be very big. This doesn't take a lot of power. Okay. I'm just going to use that as a placeholder for now till I bring the water over to here. Now what I will do for this is plop some residential. Now if you'll notice, I lined my avenue with trees. That's why I made this 5 blocks instead of 4. This way, it will keep my residential from going on and off at different places along this avenue and just keep them on the one-way roads. Plus, it will raise the land value and help raise the level of the residential because of the parks. Because these are considered parks, tree park. It says just a tree line, but it still counts as a park and still raises your surrounding value. It looks like Chirper is getting in the holiday spirit. He has a Rudolph nose and antlers. I just noticed that. I'm very observant. I did not notice that. That's bad when your icons on your desktop are getting in the Christmas spirit and you're not. I want to try to keep residential away from these sections by the roundabout. So these will probably be commercial or office or utilities of some sort or services. Probably services. Just to keep them away from the noise pollution of the roundabout. So my next goal for this section will be to lay out the rest of my roads for my housing, run my water, and run my electric, and put in some sewage services. And then I can start filling in and see how my traffic looks before I continue over here and do my transportation hub. So I thank anybody that took the time out to watch this. My city start for my Riverway. I hope it's been a little informative. I'm sure I am doing some things wrong or some things that people would do differently. If I am, just drop me a note in the comments. Let me know what I'm doing wrong and what I should do differently. Or if you think that it's helpful, drop me a note and say that it is or is not. And I will see everyone in the next episode.